We're all
we
set,
open?
Bill?
Um,
1 second, Commissioner.
yeah, you're good, pal.
Are we a go here?
You are,
Yeah.
sir.
Good afternoon. I'm now going to call the Wednesday, March 10th meeting of the Norfolk County Commissioners to order. This meeting is being held with remote participation as a result of a state order. On Thursday, March 12, 2020, Governor Baker issued an order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Chapter 30A, Section 120. That order was effective immediately until it is rescinded or the state of emergency is terminated. Call to order, Commissioner Collins,
Present.
Commissioner Stady,
Present.
and the Chairman Shea is present. First, number 3, minutes of the executive session meeting of February 24th for approval. Do we have a motion?
Bill, I thought you had mentioned that you wanted those on the table. They weren't quite ready.
Yes, if you could table both executive session.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table the executive session minutes from 2/24/21 and 2/25/21 as they're not ready yet. We haven't reviewed
Which
them.
is item number 5, okay.
Right, I'll second the.
All right, for everyone that's got an agenda, we're tabling number 3 and number 5. Number 4, minutes of the open session meeting of February 25th, 2021 as submitted.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Chairman?
Second.
Motion to approve the minutes, of the open session meeting, February 25th, 2020, approved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Do we have any public comment? We received anyone has any public comment at all?
I have not received anything, Chairman.
Okay. Number 8,
Hey, Joe, can I jump in?
sure.
So I think we did the open session meeting minutes for 2/25/21, but we didn't do the open session meeting minutes for 3/3/21.
I'm sorry, you're absolutely right.
And Peter, you have to
I'm
abstain.
sorry, good work.
I'll abstain from that
Right.
because I wasn't there.
Right.
Back to
right.
number 6. Approval of the minutes of the open session meeting of last week, March 21st,
No, March 3rd.
March
March
3rd,
Right, I'll move
2021,
approval of March 3rd.
2021.
Yes. So moved.
And I'll second it. All in favor? It's
Aye.
approved 2-0. Number 7, public comment. Number 8, facilities maintenance capital improvement report and corona update. John McGowan.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Hi,
Good
John.
afternoon, John.
I'm thankful to report that we don't have any COVID issues this week that I know of,
Right.
so far anyway. But I'm still dealing with the vault issue over here where we had the fire. I had it, as you know, the Servpro went in and painted it, but they didn't paint it the way I thought it should be painted, so I repainted it. I painted the ceilings and the walls, and I also stripped the floor and sealed it. And the smell seems to have gone down. It's almost eliminated, but there's still a smell of. You can tell there was a fire if you get near the vault, because I think that the smoke might have went up behind that steel partition there where the door is attached.
Mhm.
I'm sure that a lot of smoke went up into that area, and it's just going to take time for it to dissipate. And I mean, we're just going to have to live with it for a while. I have the door. I sent the doors out to get repaired. I think I mentioned that to you last week, and they're all set. They've been repaired, and we're going to install them on Saturday. And the reason for that is they have to weld some hinges on the door that were torn off by the firefighters. And I hired a fire detail, so we'll be covered there. And they should be done with it on Saturday afternoon, I would believe it'd be through by then. We have, a price for the lights to get reinstalled. I believe I'm setting it up for sometime next week. They can get in there and put the new lighting back up in the vault. And, I think that should be it for us part of it, except for the registrar is gonna get some companies in here to give them a price on reinstalling new shelving that was destroyed in the fire. And, hopefully we'll have that area back in operation probably before the end of the month. Hopefully, anyway. But, other than that, I don't have too much. I was scheduling the ductwork cleaning for Brookline, but I just was notified that it was canceled for this weekend. So I'll probably be reporting that to you maybe next week or the week after. I'm not sure. I'll have to get a hold of the contract. I think he said the 27th. And Rentham, I met with the commissioner down there last week, and there was a problem with in the probation area on the second floor. What happened there was, I found out, was we had it scheduled to be done last year, right after this, as soon as this pandemic struck in March. That put an end to that because I guess how things were at that time, everybody was locked down, nobody could go anywhere. And I don't know, it must have slipped through the cracks or something, but the contractor's been tied up backfilling all his jobs that he couldn't do during the year. But he's gonna come in Tuesday. I tried to get him in there this Monday coming, but he couldn't do it, but he's going in there starting Tuesday. I checked with Michelle, the clerk of courts down there, and they're all on board, and they're gonna make arrangements to leave the office while they install this ductwork and the new diffusers. It's only 4 locations that weren't tied up last year, and they should be done within a day or two. And we had some other issues down there with the locks from the court offices, but I don't believe that's our function to deal with state jail cells. I mean, they changed, I think the state is in charge of changing those locks. And we had some other issue. I talked to Michelle about the main courtroom. She wanted to have some things changed around in there, and I talked to her this morning, and she said she wanted to put it off for at least 6 months to a year. That's about it for this week, unless you have any questions.
Commissioners, any questions of John McGowan?
Nice job, John.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
John, good job on the Rentham. Thanks for the follow-up very quickly on that. On the lighting, are you planning to do any other examination of the lighting in that building just as a precaution, or what's that game plan? And secondly, second question, are you sticking around? Because I think we're opening or discovering bid, a couple of bids we're going to be awarding, I think. So are you staying on the call?
Yes, sir.
All right. How about the lighting elsewhere? Are you going to look at those, or?
As far, I know we mentioned it with the registrar about having all the other lights examined to make sure that we don't want another problem like we had in the vault.
Yeah.
And that's as far as I don't think it was ever brought up again, but I thought the insurance company was going to be involved in having that done.
Okay.
I would think that they would want to have it done. I remember talking to the adjuster about it.
Yeah.
And he's never got back to me. I don't know if Nancy knows anything about that or not.
Yeah. Well, maybe, like I said, we could do, after talking to the insurance company, check X amount of lights per week or per month, or just something, because we know we don't want to have a problem, obviously preventive maintenance, but.
Oh, definitely. It should be done. If they made a mistake there, who's to say that they didn't make a mistake somewhere else,
Okay,
And,
good job, John. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I have a quick question, John. On
Yes.
Saturday, you're gonna do the doors on the safe, right? Is this a
Yes.
safe? Is that an
Yes.
inside, does an inside company do that, or do we do that ourselves?
No,
mean,
I got these,
outside.
I got a company to do it, and we're gonna
Okay.
get paid through the insurance company. We're gonna
That's
submit
fine.
the bill to them.
And all the Serv Pro or whoever we hire to clean, and that goes to the insurance company too, right, that bill?
Yes, yep,
Okay,
everything.
everything.
Even our
Okay.
hours, I'm submitting a bill for, the labor that I used, my men, to seal
Okay,
the safe, you know, to seal
Yep.
the walls. Any costs incurred, is the responsibility of the insurance company, as far as I'm concerned.
okay, I agree with you, I just want to be doubly sure.
And I checked with the Nancy, and she checked with to get the okay from the adjuster to go ahead and do this. So, I mean, I didn't just do it on my own. I waited until we got the authority from the adjuster,
Okay,
all right?
okay. Any other questions right now of John in maintenance or any other updates for maintenance? I think he's gonna stay with us, so. Number 9, appointments. We have no appointments this week. Number 10, old business. I have nothing under old business. Number 11, we have 32 various personnel issues. They are all at the golf course. They're all targeted around the golf course opening, and these are part-time employees that are coming and going from the golf course. So we have 6 resignations. And then 26 notice of a minimum wage increase. So Commissioner Collins, we'll take 2 motions. We're not going to read all the names.
I'll make the motion that we adopt the 6 resignations as referenced in the agenda.
Right.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that as they refer to the Wollaston Golf Course.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's the resignations. Now the 26 part-time employees that work in various positions in the office. I know a lot of these people are Greens people and they're all part-time employees, all minimum wage.
I'll make the motion that we adopt the 26 minimum wage increases for the 26 employees as referenced in the agenda for the Wollaston Recreational Facility.
Just a quick question. Those were effective January 1? Am I reading that right?
That's correct, but they're not starting until next week, I believe. That's just
Okay,
for,
I see. Okay,
it's just for the payroll, right?
I see. Got it. Okay, thank you, Peter. All right, I'll second that as motion.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. I know, I think they might be back this week. They weren't there in January, though. We were closed.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Okay, we have 2
Norfolk Ag.
resignations at the Norfolk County Agricultural School. If I could have a motion. Again, these are substitute maintenance employees.
I'll make the motion that we adopt the 2 resignations for the 2 employees as 2 employees from the Aggie School as referenced in the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of resignation of 2 substitute maintenance employees at the agricultural school. All in favor?
Effective March 5, right? Effective March.
Yes,
5?
effective March 5.
Yeah, I'm with that. Sure.
Oh,
Yes,
they're
ma'am.
gone. All right. Numbers 12, payroll and expense warrants.
All right. Let's see.
You got one in front of you? I've got one somewhere here.
Do you want to run with the Dick? I got
Give
him.
me 1 second. I'm using a, God, how do I open this up? I may have to have you do it, Peter. Give me a minute. I mean, it's opening up. I got it. Okay, I got it. Thank you. All right, motion to approve the March 10th payroll expense warrant for the county payroll in the amount of $133,888.70. That's payroll 21-36.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant to approve the first payroll warrant. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Next.
I motion for the Aggie biweekly payroll 2136 in the amount of $326,985.49. So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the approval of the biweekly payroll for the Aggie School. All in favor?
Aye.
Third motion, county expense warrant of 3/2/21 in the amount of $80,558.11. So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the county expense warrant. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Number
And
13.
lastly, motion to approve the bond issue 21-4 in the amount of $150,121.88. So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve the bond issue 21-4 in the amount of $150,121.88. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Number 13, bid openings. I have none today. No contract awards. Number 15, the approval of the 2020 Norfolk
But, Mr. Chairman,
County
if I may?
Annual. Yes, Commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, weren't we supposed to award the contract for the painting today, or the dome, or one of those? Wasn't that slated? We wanted to wrap that up?
I wasn't of the impression we were wrapping it up today. I did want to move it to the next level after we picked the color, yes.
Yeah.
Jim and Shay, may I speak?
Go ahead,
What
Nancy.
happened on the paint? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, this is Nancy.
Okay,
The bids have gone out for the project. The pre-bid conference is this coming Friday at 2 p.m. Next Wednesday, the 17th, the sub bids will open, and then the general bids will open the following week.
okay, beautiful.
And then everything will be gone through the architect and everything for a contract to be awarded.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you. What about the other one, the Stoughton court?
Stoughton, yes, the makeup air units, I'm in the process of just checking a couple more references on the apparent low bidder, which is Enterprise Equipment.
Okay.
So far, I am getting back very, very good references. They're a great company. And that should be in for you to sign a contract on next Wednesday so we can begin that project.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Number 15, the fiscal year 2020 Norfolk County Annual Report. It was on last week's agenda, but at the suggestion of Commissioner Stady, we wanted the full board here. Has everyone looked at the 2020 Annual Report?
Yes.
How's it look?
Looks good.
Okay. We have a motion to approve it.
Sure. Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'll
Caught up
respectfully.
on annual
abstain.
reports.
I'll abstain. Okay.
Number 16 and number 17, Phil Iantosker is going to handle both items. Number 16 is the fiscal year 2020 schedule of cost of services for the court facility for approval. In your packet, there's a big portion of it devoted to this particular item. I'm going to have Phil open it up and help assist us to get through it. He's the expert here. Phil, are you ready to go?
I am. So this is our annual schedule of costs for the court facilities that the county services. And can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, thanks. And this is a project that takes 3 to 4 months throughout the year. It begins usually in about August and goes through about January, December. And this is basically the money that we spend to maintain our court facilities. Does anybody what would you like me to, would you like me to go through each schedule or?
Well, I don't think it's necessary unless the commissioners do. It's got every nickel and dime we spend.
Yes, it does. Yes,
That's your affair and that's good. And if it balances. It
yes,
also is broken out by court,
it is correct.
which I thought was interesting. Is this comparable to other years?
Well, this year is lower. And I think most of that has to do with the fact that we had a spending freeze. So we weren't spending money
As much,
for, from for 3 months.
And how about COVID? How did that affect it?
Well, as you can see, we did back out the monies we got reimbursed through the state. Not a ton.
Phil,
Oh, we're
Is that
losing
you
you.
speaking up or is that me?
we're losing you, Phil. Whoop, he's
You
coming
still
back.
there? Phil? I think we lost him.
We're gonna send someone in to see if he's. Phil, we can't hear you. Let's see you.
So sorry about that, but Phil's mic died, so he's gonna come in and give his report in this office.
Okay.
Sorry, Phil.
Hi. Sorry about that. My mic died on my machine. So, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Okay. So I was saying that somebody had asked about the corona expenses. So we did back out some monies, including $2,737.87 from personnel because we got that portion back to us from the state. And we also backed out $3,822.11 from housekeeping supplies. And those are the monies that we've been reimbursed to date.
Okay.
So it wasn't a huge amount of money. But to further answer a question, I mean, this is less money than we've spent, than we've submitted in past years. Usually we're around 4 million to 4.2 million. So this is considerably less than a typical year. And we have combed high and low for everything that we can send back to the state for reimbursement. And so with your approval today, I will send the original plus 3 copies to the trial court. And I've already started planning their audit. So they come out, well, a lot of it will probably be done remotely because of COVID. And they'll come out, they'll just basically do an audit. They do a sample for each of these schedules, and they'll want to see warrants for this, and that. And then I pull the warrants and they just make sure the charges are legitimate. And then the state issues a report. And typically we are reimbursed pretty close to our submission. I mean, obviously they're auditors, so they find something here and there to take out. But we usually do a pretty good job of getting reimbursed. I'd say 98 to 100% every year. Any other questions?
Phil, Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Go
if I
ahead.
may?
Yes,
Yes, of course.
It's new to me, so quick question if I could.
Sure.
What's our total figure then overall for all the county courts? What's the total amount, Phil? And second, how quick is the turnaround usually for reimbursement?
Well, the total amount, Commissioner Stady, if you have it in front of you, it'll say total audited reimbursement, or no, sorry, cost of service court, $3,839,330.04.
Okay, yep,
Cost of service court. That's what we submit.
okay.
And then they will come out and give us, like I said, an audit. And what was your second question on the turnaround?
How quick is the turnaround? We get that like a year later, 2 years later? Well, how's it running? in terms
So
of reimbursement.
when we are audited for 2020, we won't get the first payment for 2020 until FY 2021. So usually the court run reimbursement for our fiscal year,
Right,
it will be one payment from the prior fiscal year
interesting.
and 3 payments for that fiscal year. I don't know
Alright,
if that makes sense. It's a little hard to follow.
okay, so it's a little cash flow, okay,
Yes,
all right, yep. That's good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Phil.
you're welcome.
Okay, any other questions of Phil? This is the same format we've used before, right?
Yes, this is actually a template that was given to us by the state back, I want to say, at the origin of the lease agreement, which I think dates back to about 1982.
Okay. No, it's fine. I didn't realize. This is I'm telling tales here. I had some time, so I read the whole thing today, and I I mean, I love how you break everything out and get it right down so we could, question if you have to question or check everything, so.
Mhm.
If there's no other questions, I see no reason not to go forward today. This is a very important check that we wait for every year, and I was not here when they were waiting longer than they should have in the past, but those days are gone, so we seem to be keeping abreast of it. So if there's no other questions of cost of service for the county court rentals, I'll take a motion, because we do need to approve this $3,839,000 figure.
Right, I'll motion to approve the schedule of cost of service of the courthouse facilities in the county of Norfolk for fiscal 2020 as presented in the memo today, in the total amount of $3,839,330. Hope that's correct.
Second.
All in favor of approving the cost of services for the courthouse facilities for fiscal year 2020 for the county of Norfolk?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Can I,
Don't
shoot,
go,
Mr.
don't
Chairman?
go away,
Zoom.
Phil. The next,
Chairman.
number 17,
Wait,
Can I,
someone have a
can I,
question?
the trial
Yes.
balance for approval. We're gonna have Phil answer that. There's a memo in your packet from Joe Dioria entitled Trial Balance 13121.
No.
Addressed to Bill Buckley, just for your review.
Excuse
So,
me.
Phil did-
Chairman, someone had a question, I think.
Oh, I'm
I think it was
sorry.
Phil.
Yes, I did have a question. Do I have your authority to stamp the signature page
Yes.
for the
I
court
would
rental?
say,
Because,
yeah, if you need a signature today,
oh, right, I can get the chairman's, but the quicker this gets signed, the quicker I get it out in the mail.
You'd have to use the stamp today for me, so please go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you.
Yeah, you
Please,
can use my stamp too, Phil.
Thank you.
please, yep.
Okay,
I'm
we're
sorry.
going on to the trial balance. Go
Trial
ahead, Phil.
balance, Right.
Actually, this isn't me. I was the annual report and the court rental.
Right.
Yeah, this comes up from the treasurer's office.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, Joe Dioria is on the line.
This is the trial balance. We get it every month.
Thank you. Oh, that's fine. I know.
It's pretty straightforward. I don't see any questions.
If there are any, Mr. Chairman, Joe Dioria is on the Zoom,
Okay, Joe is with us.
and he sent a memo yesterday.
That's our budget.
Joe, this is straightforward from month to month, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. Any questions from the commissioners?
Bill, thanks for the good news. Let's keep those good news coming. Can you do that?
Do my best.
All right, good job.
Okay. Commissioner Collins, any questions?
No questions. Nice job, Joe.
Thank you.
Take a motion on the January trial balance.
So move, Mr. Chairman. Approval of trial balance in January of 2021.
Do we have a
Second.
second?
Yep, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you, Joe.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Joe. Thank you.
Number 18, report of the interim county director. We're gonna hear two reports, one from Michelle and one from Bill Buckley. So we'll start with Michelle. Michelle,
Good afternoon,
Let's see.
Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Michelle.
So I just have a few updates. The Abrahams Group participated in Zoom meetings this week with all department heads regarding the scope of the best practices overview. The Abrahams Group also met with Local 2417 members to answer any questions regarding the job questionnaire. The JAQ, they call it, the Job Analysis Questionnaire, has been mailed to all employees listed to receive them. The return date for the JAQ to be returned to the Abrahams Group is March 15th, 2021. Indirects are being finalized and we will be sending them to all departments by next week for their budgets. I wanted to update everyone on the Budget Sense Infinite Vision software because I know that came up last week at the meeting, but Michael Mullen had scheduled a training with Infinite Visions in the fall of 2020 with all department heads as part of the best practices review. And at this time, all departments are not utilizing this software, and we are in the process of scheduling another training. And this is part of the best practices overview. I want everyone to know Mayflower voted on the FY22 rates on March 4th, 2021. And for FY22, there will be an increase of 2.25% for the health insurance. There will be no increase for FY22 for the dental, which is great news for us. Open enrollment for health plans will be coordinated remotely this year, just like last year. Notification will be mailed to all active and retired employees. And Chairman, this is all I have at this time. If anyone has any questions.
I have a quick question. If the commissioners, do you have a question?
I just wanted to say, Michelle, you're doing a good job and keep it up. We appreciate what you're doing. And if you have any questions, obviously, or need anything, we're always here to help you too. But thank you for your work. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Commissioner
Nice job,
Tom.
Michelle.
Okay, I have a question. I don't want to let the, is it fair to say, looking at some of these indirects, that this is a better year than in the past?
Yeah.
Without getting our hopes way up, because that does help the bottom line on the budget. Until I see everything spread out, it's hard to determine, but.
Yes, when I go through the budget, I'll point that out, but we did have a change in indirects because on the hospital side, we did have quite a few retirees who passed away over the past year, and we did see a decline there.
Okay, so that'll all be out when we get the final package.
That's correct.
It seemed when I first came here that in building the budget, indirects was all we ever talked about. It seems like we have a better handle on it. Now, I know we're subject to the outside market. I mean, you always have to wait. That includes the health coverage and everything, correct?
That's correct. It's health coverage for each employee and each retiree by department, by
Right.
plan.
Okay, well, I can wait a couple of weeks, but I did hear a little rumor that maybe we're in a little better shape, but not to give the store away, but it all helps. Any other questions of Michelle before we go to Bill Buckley? Bill Buckley, what say you, Bill?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I bring only good news today, which is a nice change. I was looking for a screen share here. There we go. We were able to actualize through working with MEMA a number of free supplies for both the county and the agricultural school. And through the quick work of Nancy Rockwell, Sheila Carroll, and Rick Fitzpatrick, we were able to put together a proposal for assistance from MEMA for COVID-19 supplies. And if you can see on the screen, this was the application we sent in. And John Palmer and Joe Feeney went out to their facility at Forge Park this morning and picked up these supplies and were able to get them to the Aggie this morning and here at the Dedham complex later in the morning as well. So we're very grateful for our partnership with the administration and MEMA to get all this free stuff. Mostly disinfecting hand wipes and sanitizers, which will just help us with our overarching stockpile and saves the county a good amount of money. So we're very grateful for that. That was item number one. Item number two, actually, I want to continue the screen share. I apologize. We have heard from our partners in the Baker administration as of a half an hour ago, they gave us a heads up along with the other county managers of what they know at this very moment regarding the second stimulus bill coming to the Commonwealth. Right now, Norfolk County, through their projections and the projections of the Senate Democratic leadership page, is slated to get $137 million. I'll show you the top of this slide. This is information I received about 20 minutes before our meeting, but it is just something to perhaps continue to keep an eye on. The final bill has not been inked, but it is obviously coming to fruition rapidly. And we want to just make sure you are aware that Norfolk County is once again enumerated in the bill. And perhaps if the commissioners have any thoughts about proactively, perhaps I would suggest reaching out to ANF again to see how they would like to work with us and how to proceed. That may be something to think about. And my third very quick update is that we continue to get co-sponsors due to the larger co-sponsorship deadline for the two bills, one in the House and one in the Senate, regarding county revenue. Plymouth County is beating us on the House bill, but we are beating them in the Senate bill for co-sponsors. And Senator Timilty and Senator O'Connor just jumped on to both bills in the last 2 or 3 days. Their offices have been very helpful and responsive. So we continue to work at that. I don't think it needs to come to a meeting, but I will put a report together in the next few days as we kind of chase some of our straggling friends to make sure they're on this as well. So I'll keep you up to date with that. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. I'm also kind of working on day-to-day stuff at the engineering department with Mike Jardin, who's been tremendously helpful and kind of fielding requests as they come in and triaging what comes before that. But I also know we have a 1:30 FinCom meeting, so.
Okay. By way of explanation, before I take any questions, last year when we had our first go around of stimulus money, the Baker administration called us and asked the counties, Norfolk, Bristol, and Plymouth, to not apply directly for the money or not take receipt of it because the state has the formula and the Department of Revenue is running it. What I'd like to do, and I can take questions before we go into the budgets, is ask Commissioner Collins if he'll work with Bill on this, because Peter did yeoman's work and actually participated in the calls back and forth between the Department of Revenue, which were less than a year ago. I assume the same type of issue is going to come up. And so far, the resolution had been a good one for us in Bristol County. I would tell you that Plymouth did not participate in the state. They're going it their own way. Yet the state was thankful to us, and we have even a thank you letter, and we'll put it right at the top of the pile. But I would say that we should keep the same team in place. I'm going to ask Bill to reach out to the person. I know it's a female. Her name escapes me today, but I can find it. And we're ahead of the curve here a little. This hasn't come yet, but you know what's going to happen. Certain cities and towns may see, aren't we supposed to get all this money? And we want to find out how we're going to get it. Well, you're going to get it indirectly through the state formula if that's the way they did it before. But it worked the first time. I'm confident it's going to work the second time, but we need to pay attention. So we're going to ask Bill to bird dog this. And Peter, I'm going to ask you if you'll work with Bill, just because you did the first one and it worked out very well.
I'm happy to help out.
Okay. Any questions relative to Bill Buckley's presentation?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Dick.
a couple of quick ones.
Well,
I agree with your sentiment. The only concern I have is, I'm a little concerned, I think we all are, with Governor Baker's legislation that proposes to abolish the county. I mean, it'd be nice to kind of put forth our best foot and maybe get some goodwill, and also hopefully communicate the desire that we're hoping that will go away in an interest of partnership, You know what I'm
when I
saying?
said the thank you letter, I put it at the top of the pile. That's what I was referring to.
There you go.
Because we really, I know Peter's persuasive ways kept Bristol County in line, and the state knows it. Now, whether we're going to get any credit for it, we shall see.
Sure,
we're
yeah.
not prepared to administer that
And I'm sure Peter will communicate that. Peter did a great job, I understand, last time around. What's this compare, in terms of the number, Bill Buckley, the question through you, Mr. Chairman. How does this number of 137 million compare to the first go around? Is it greater or smaller?
It is
Bill?
greater, about
I was
20
gonna say.
million greater.
Yeah.
And
I mean, is there
further,
would they make any sense, Bill, and I'm politely asking this, for us to keep some of that money for our own county operations? I'm just saying, compared to what we did last time, or is that like bad? I'm just thinking out loud here, it's a large amount.
that's a strong, let me share again. That's a sharp point, sir.
Yeah.
So I pulled up counties here.
Yeah.
Other non-counties, there's a formula within the bill for, I see, you know, our finance committee person from Wellesley is on, just Wellesley just happened to be the last thing I was looking for my own town of Walpole.
Okay. Yeah.
But so there's a formula for distribution to the individual communities as well.
Yeah.
I think one of the things when I spoke with Treasurer O'Brien yesterday from Bristol County, Plymouth County, he did underscore the fact that this money has a far fewer strictures on it than the last group, and that I think is a much greater, it raises a lot more questions about our administration of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, but I think your point's well taken. Probably the point of departure would be to reach out to our contacts, both Commissioner Collins and I, he at the elected level, myself at the staff level, with the administration to begin a conversation with how do we help you? Where do we go from here? And I think
Yeah.
not
I'm just thinking, I'm going to
yeah.
politely suggest, though, that I agree with the chair's suggestion. I do. But I'm also of the mind that maybe we may want to keep a small amount based on the formula. That's all. I'm doing it politely. Maybe we want to look at that, and you and Peter can work that out. Maybe maybe we keep, I don't know, 10 million or something like that. That's justified. I want to make sure it's justified, obviously, and we want to work with the administration. That's
quite right. And to be clear, the first round of monies that we chose not to personally administer,
Yeah.
we were still eligible, and that's the work that Nancy Rockwell has been doing, you know, along with Phil and others for the, you know, the
Sure.
CARES Act reimbursement. So yes, we're obviously not going to say take it all. We would obviously seek our share of that money, just as our constituent communities would as well.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Thank you, Bill. Good job. Nice job.
Okay, I think we're gonna look for a weekly update on this right through it. It's that important.
Yeah.
And
yes.
again, as soon as we heard about it, we got right on it.
Yep.
A few folks called me that were monitoring it. I might mention that I had a long conversation with Dan Matthews, who was at an MMA meeting and picked
Oh,
up
yeah.
on it
I think Dan called us all.
We called everybody.
a week or 10 days ago, and I appreciate it. And then Bill
Yeah.
had the same information, but
Yeah,
it's good that Dan is still looking out for us because
he is. He is. Yep.
this was a big deal last year. And
Yeah.
okay,
Well, it's an opportunity. You know, Mr. Chairman, a good opportunity for us to do the right thing, but also, again, if we can also help ourselves the right way, why not? You know, so let's,
well, the way I look at this, 28 cities and towns in the county, if
Yes.
we would like a unit of the county,
yeah,
we'd be the 29th. If they're distributing, I saw Wellesley's getting something, I couldn't read the figures, they were too small in this one. Maybe we could add on for administration off of, you know, get a portion of it that we didn't get the first time. However,
Right.
it went through to the cities and towns.
right. That's all.
I just wanted to explain properly because, you know, I don't want everyone to think they're just gonna get all this money without justifying it or something else.
And what I
That isn't
didn't,
gonna
I
happen.
just want to make sure I'm clear. I'm not trying to tell Peter, as you delegated it to Commissioner Collins.
We did
what
the
to say
first
or
one,
not
did
say,
such a
but
great
the
job.
flavor is, let's not say we're going to give everything back yet. You know, we want to work with them. That's all, you know, but anyway.
Okay, I'm a few minutes late, but we're gonna open up number 19. The joint meeting with the Finance Committee for fiscal 2022 budget review. 3 budgets we're gonna review today are Commissioner's Office miscellaneous, RSVP, which is under the Commissioner's Office, and Information Technology. I noticed that Chairman Collins of the Advisory Board is here. I'm not sure other people are here from the advisory board. They've been here the last 2 weeks doing yeoman's work. I'm sure the chairman can handle these 3, but can you hear me, Commissioner Connors?
Yes, I can, Mr. Shea.
Okay, do you have any
Right.
objection? What?
Can I just take this, are there any advisory, any finance committee members on?
That was
Yeah.
my question.
Mr. Chair, Joe Reardon's here.
Hi, Joe.
Okay, great.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, Eric Beckerman.
Okay, that was,
Hello, Aaron. Hello, welcome.
that was
Thank
my
you.
point, Mr. Shea. I was going to introduce Eric Beckerman from the town of Avon as a newly appointed member of the Finance Committee. Our longtime member, Helen Donahue, has retired from the Finance Committee. In her place, I have taken the opportunity within the jurisdiction that I have to appoint Eric Beckerman to fill her spot for the remainder of the fiscal year. So Eric, welcome and thank you for accepting the position.
Welcome aboard, Eric.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Eric. All right, if there's no objection, why don't we take IT first?
Mr. Chair,
Technology. Is Mark going to handle this?
Mr. Chair,
Michelle? Okay,
Commissioner-
Mark
Mr. Chair.
McDonald, our IT director. Good
Commissioner-
afternoon, Mark.
Mr. Chair,
Jay, Mr. Reardon needs to speak.
I'm sorry, what?
that's, Mr. Chair, it would be appropriate this time, with your permission, to open the meeting of the Finance Committee for
Okay,
public
I'm
record.
sorry.
Okay. Going to open the meeting of the Finance Committee for the purposes of working with the commissioners and hearing the budget presentations and 2 other pieces of business. I will call the roll to make sure that everyone is here, as we are not physically present. Mr. Baldoff has already indicated he will not be present. So Mr. Beckerman,
Here,
present. Dr. Childs is present.
Here,
Chair Connors is present.
Yep.
And Ms. Frigiletti is present.
Here.
Amy, you there?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The Finance Committee is present and we have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay. We're going to go right to Mark McDonald, who is our IT director, and let him present his budget. Mark is housed here with the commissioners, but it's a separate standalone budget, so to speak. Go ahead, Mark.
Afternoon, gentlemen, commissioners, ladies. So I'm here to present the IT budget for fiscal year 21. What the budget is, our budget is looking for is a increase from the previous year of 85,350 to 116,250. The increases in the budget that we've rolled in is there's a 10% annual increase in the support that we pay for our Infinite Visions budgeting software, payroll, human resources. So we've done a 10% increase on that line item annually, and that falls under the computer software line item. I've also asked for a $6,000 increase on the computer hardware line item. Planning this coming fiscal year to replace our 2 major servers that support our file sharing, the Infinite Vision software, our security software, domains. So they're basically going to be 2 servers that will house 11 virtual servers. And that covers all the needs of the county. So there's a $6,000 cost for 1 server on the fiscal year 21 budget, and I've got earmarked 6,000 on the fiscal year 20. So what I will do is towards the, at the very end of my buying time in fiscal year 20, I'll purchase one server. Then as soon as I'm available to purchase in the fiscal year 21, I'll buy a second server. They have to be identically configured in order to work with this virtual software that we use. So that's a $6 increase. We also have an additional $4,000 increase I'm looking for on the computer software line item. And that is to implement a new version of Microsoft Office for all users in the county, treasurer's office, commissioner's office, maintenance and engineering, as well as the President's Golf Club, which have now taken over administration of their IT department. And as part of this effort to renew or to replace our servers, I've also asked for a $6,000 increase for support in doing this. We'll need to have an outside company come in and help me configure this, get it all done and tested after hours, so there's no interruption to county business. Any questions? I'd be glad to answer.
Any questions of Mark, commissioners? Advisory board?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have a question. When you mentioned all of the departments, Mark, you did not mention the registrar's office. Is there any involvement there?
No, we're separate from, they have their own IT department.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, the departments that I mentioned are the ones that I'm in charge of
Okay, thank you.
from an IT standpoint.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Riddick.
may I, through you, ask a question?
Sure.
Mark, following up on Paul's question. In some communities, there is one IT department for the entire community and even includes 911, which obviously is very intricate and very important and needs to be monitored 24/7. I suppose as does everything else. Would it be feasible? Would there be cost savings in integrating everything into one IT department for the whole county? And I don't know if you can answer that question. Obviously, there's bits and pieces to that puzzle, but I'm just thinking kind of from 30,000 feet.
If I can jump in on that one, both chairs.
Yes.
Okay, so this is history. There was one IT department at one time. Mark, the individual who runs the IT for the registry, ran the IT, and Mark was second in command for underneath that protocol. And several years ago, we saw that there was a difference in focus because the focus, as it was lined up, primarily came because it was under the registry budget. It primarily came on behalf of the registry, and it was under Frank Haggerty's watch that he saw a need to have a separate viewpoint from the county angle. And that was when we separated the two IT departments. So I understand what you're saying, Joe, but
Yeah.
we found that it didn't quite work to serve all parties.
But wow, a story for a different day, but I have some ideas around that. Thank you, Commissioner.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that?
Hey, Elizabeth.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, my internet's a little fussy here today, so just bear with me. If I get cut out, I'll get back on. I was following up on Joe's point. I mean, I would just point out that the state, I was at the state when we integrated all the state executive offices and departments across the entire state into a single centralized IT system. So I would just point out that if we could do that at the state level, I can't imagine that we couldn't do that at the county level. And it is very challenging. I understand that, because you have to recognize that the end user is critical and make it work for the end user. But it was done at the state level as a cost savings efficiency. And although it's challenging for everybody to do that, at the end of the day, if you have good leadership, which I think we do in our IT department, you actually can get some great efficiencies and top line software and hardware. So I wouldn't, because of the history, I wouldn't necessarily rule it out as something. And maybe what we could do, I was thinking, Chairman Shea, I was thinking maybe you and I could bring that up at the Abrams Group steering committee. As a question, really, they may already be.
I do believe, I don't know that they're concentrating on it. I know that they commented to Mike.
Yeah.
That
So I think that that's,
in fact, we had 3 IT departments because the school's got one too. Now, again, the school, I'm not,
yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and he,
I just,
it was just a comment from Mike before he left. So I'd be
Yeah,
happy
I
to
would-
follow it up with you.
yeah, I think maybe we could take that up. Joe Reardon, I was thinking maybe we could take that up at the Abrams Group conversations, because I think your point here is really well taken.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Mark McDonald? Mark, why don't you just outline who you do take care of compared?
So I take care of the county commissioner's office, the treasurer's office, the maintenance department, the engineering department, and the county golf course.
Okay, and then included in the commissioner's office is RSVP, of course.
Yes, of course.
Okay, good. That gives us a little outline. Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
real quick,
Commissioner.
Mark, good job. I just wanted to follow up. I think that what Commissioner Collins was trying to include was the point that we had that discussion. I'm not saying there's no harm in revisiting it, but Registrar O'Donnell had strong safety concerns, I think, at the time, that merited his own system being separate from ours. There were a lot of issues he cited in terms of confidentiality of records and saying things like that. I don't know. And maybe he should be included, I would think and hope, in any discussion. And like you pointed out, we have 3 ITs. We have the Aggie School too. Most communities, I know myself, like in Canton, they have an IT for the town and IT for the school. So it's not uncommon to have 2 separate ITs. Maybe we could consolidate. It's worth looking at, but I think Registrar O'Donnell should be included in the discussion, obviously. So, that's all. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Sure. Eric,
I know I'm the new guy here, and I apologize because I just saw these documents in the last 12 hours, but I do have a question. Mark, under the professional and technical, you had mentioned that there's a $6,000 increase due to a consultant basically to help out, or an outside firm to help out with the upgrade of the servers. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, so that's a one-time charge, correct?
yes.
So I guess my question would be, and this might just be a point of order on my understanding. Generally, I wouldn't imagine that one-time charges should be part of your operating budget going forward. One-time charges should be specialized costs, because it's not a reoccurring cost. And I would have the same question on the computer hardware line. I know we're increasing by 6,000 to buy additional servers, but that's not an operating budget charge. That's really kind of a capital charge, even though the amounts are under the capital threshold. They wouldn't be considered operating budget, correct? Because they're not reoccurring.
Correct.
So, Mr. Chairman Reardon, I don't know if that's a point that needs to be made, some adjustments here, and those costs should really come out of a capital expenditure account rather than being part of the operating budget itself.
You bring up a good point, Eric, and that has, capital pieces have been discussed. That's a focus of the Abrahams Group. I think that in what we're doing now, we wouldn't have an opportunity to do anything other than suggest until the commissioners come with their budget, but I think it's something we should discuss on the Finance Committee. To your point, in a previous presentation from the registry, there was a one-time appropriation last year, and that was questioned as to whether it was in the budget this year and things. So the devil's in the details. So I appreciate that you're looking into that, and something we should address, and we'll put it on the agenda for our meeting to consider the commissioner's budget. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh,
Thank you all the
Can I
chairman.
add to that, Joe Reardon?
Yes, please do, Doctor.
I just got to remind us, we had this is such a good point, Eric, because this came up around the engineering department last week, where and actually at that point, I was just going to say Michelle, to ask Michelle, because Mike said there was a way to move that out of the operating budget into the capital budget so that it's cleaner and clearer. And I was just going to ask if they might, if Michelle and Bill could maybe consider making that cleaner and clearer in this issue as well. Am I misremembering this, Joe Reardon, or do I have this right?
No, I think it was a snow blower. I think you're 100% right.
Yes,
Or a
it was
snow
the
blower
snow-
attachment.
That's it,
Yeah.
the snow blower. I knew it was something. But it's a good point. I think we ought to, it's confusing to
Yeah.
see it in the operating budget.
Well,
Yeah.
what Mike had said, move it into a separate list, and we're gonna compile a list of all the capital items. You're right, and that's what I was gonna say afterwards, Eric. We're just reviewing the budgets, but that's something, it's a good point. It's a good point. It may not meet the capital threshold, but it should be considered a separate cost. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, it could be paid out of expenses if
Yeah.
it doesn't meet capital threshold for
You can
procurement.
probably flag that to include it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Can I say something about that snow blower? That's part of the, number one, I said I didn't need it if it was gonna be a problem, but that comes out of my budget. That doesn't come out, that comes out of, machinery that we buy. I
We're
buy
moving
snow
it-
blowers,
we're
that
moving it
doesn't
to
come out of the
capital
capital
budget,
improvement money.
John,
I
it's
I
still
don't
on
have
the
any
table.
capital improvement money.
No, everybody's gonna be in one big capital
Right.
improvement money. We're gonna take it out of everyone's.
You'll
And-
benefit, John. It'll be a
Let me
benefit.
say we're
Oh, that'll
looking
be
at it.
good.
Yeah.
And if I may, just one additional thing in the IT budget, under Group 4, current charges and obligations, there's also a $7,000 increase for a new computer system that I think would fall under that same explanation
That could be.
as
Yeah.
durable hardware.
Yeah. Good call.
Aaron,
All
my-
right, Michelle, can you make note of this and discuss it, or send our concerns, or today's concerns from the board just to the Abrams Group in case they've looked at it? Mark, did you have a discussion yet with the Abrams Group
Concerning the budget or just in general?
in general?
Yes.
They didn't ask you about your budget?
They did ask me about, kind of long-term,
Okay,
but nothing
okay.
specific.
I don't know if this stuff is coverable. It can be covered under the capital or it's eligible, but I think it's a great comment. And I think we'd be happy to ask them to come back and take a look at it. Doesn't mean we're not gonna fund it, but we're trying to put it all in one corral, so to speak.
Right.
And if, Michelle, you can make a note and let them know. I don't know who's working on
Absolutely.
Mark's budget, but I mean, on Mark's department, but you send it to Mark, I'm sure he'll get to the right place. Mark Abrams, I mean.
Correct. Will do.
Okay, any other questions on the IT budget?
Good, Mark.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is county commissioners and RSVP. And I'm
Mr.
gonna ask
Chairman.
Michelle.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Paul.
didn't you want to take that under advisement? Which is what you have been doing on the
I'm
budget?
sorry, we need a vote to take the, good work, to take the IT budget under advisement. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Seconded. All in favor? Aye, we're
Aye.
taking it under advisement. Nothing we do today is final anyway. I'm sorry, I should have said that at the beginning.
Okay, and if I can, one more thing, Mr. Shea,
Absolutely.
to Mr. Beckerman, just so you know, Eric, what is happening is we're meeting for the first time with the commissioners on each budget being presented by the department head. They will then review them all, adjust the budgets accordingly, and submit them back to the finance committee for our final review.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you, Mr. Shea.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Michelle Labadini to give us a brief synopsis of the commissioner's budget.
Thank you, Chairman. So
Right.
I'm just gonna go through our budget. So under miscellaneous expenses, we have a $9 million miscellaneous budget, which includes group insurance, retiree insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, life insurance, and it also includes risk management and our insurance policies. You can see that with the Mayflower 2.25% increase in health plan costs, the budget increased by $53,000, which also accounts for enrollment changes that have taken place throughout the year. There is no increase in the dental plans this year. You will see a savings on the retiree side of $25,000. Of that savings is due to a reduction in enrollment for the hospital retirees. Under retirement system, we received an MOE holdback from deeds excise to pay this. Our retirement assessments have increased by $108,000 according to the Norfolk County retirement system. Under risk management, the risk management went out to bid this year. We know this price is based on a new contract. Our risk management insurance has a few areas with modest increases this year, but no significant jumps overall. We are proposing a $10,000 increase in the legal services line brought on by the need of employment counseling that is needed in a number of areas. Liability deductible, based on recommendations from our insurance agent, there will be an increase in the liability deductible, per occurrence. Under reserve, there is no change in this line item. Veteran services, last year we inadvertently cut this completely from the budget, and there is a need for these expenses. Contractual services, this line item is for the parking meter fees. Permanent salaries, a 2.25% COLA for all employees other than flat rate and at the highest grade level. Contractual services dropped by $25,000. Professional and technical services, we funded the Abraham's analysis out of this. Now we're going to have an implementation phase, which would be around $35,000 at this time to ensure recommendations are implemented. Regarding the RSVP program, we are proposing to continue our additional commitment to the RSVP program of $30,000. Health insurance numbers are part of our indirects, which we finalize in the next few weeks to confirm for accuracy. This is an update of where we are at the present time. Thank you.
Any questions to the commissioners first? Okay, I'm going to open it up to commissioners and advisory board. Excellent. I have a brief question. I should know the answer, but explain RSVP and the veterans agent and how they were created, and it was originally a grant. And they still are, but we supplemented very lightly, particularly the veteran service person. The main part of their salary, et cetera, comes from the grant, correct?
I'm not 100% sure about that, Commissioner. I'd have to check on that and get back to you. I don't want to give a false answer.
Okay, because we can't run.
Mr. Commissioner, this is Dale.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Dale.
The majority of the funds for the veterans comes from the towns of Avon and Franklin. We have contract with them where they submit funds on a quarterly basis to the county to totally offset the admin assistant and mostly offset the veteran service advocate.
Okay, that's the answer. You don't understand.
And Dale does a great job for the town.
He sure does.
I can speak for Avon.
Sure does. I'd say for the whole darn department, it costs us, less those towns, but I mean, it's worth its weight in gold of $2,500. And I feel, I feel similar about RSVP, but I will hold my other question on how they were funded and where they're funded from, because that department has, 3 people in it. And there's no way we're running that department for $30,000. So there are grants available, and that's a pretty low price too. When you figure all
I
that
know
stuff.
much of the money for RSVP comes from the federal government, and
Yes,
it's been that way for 40-something years.
Can I add something,
sure, Robert.
Peter, and through
I didn't
you,
know you were
Mr.
there. Of
Chairman?
course.
Yeah, the hard numbers really reflect that the county commissioners support about 60% of the grant overall. RSVP federal grant pays a good amount of the salaries for the 2 staffers that remain. We're no longer 3. We used to be 3.
I'm sorry.
So
I
we
keep
are 2
thinking of Sally.
staffers. That's right. That's right. Plus the commissioner's budget covers volunteer mileage reimbursement, which is huge and very important for our Rides for Vets program. So that's what I want to add.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Robert.
Robert.
Again, that's Robert Pearson, who is our director of RSVP and does a great job. And it's another program that we're very proud of. And due to COVID, we missed a few of our events this year. But if you ever have any doubt, and I know the commissioners know, and I'm sure Mr. Connors and a few others know, if you ever go to their once-a-year luncheon and see the award ceremony and how many people are committed throughout the county to this, it's really enlightening. And it makes you see anybody that can give some time for others. It's really a great program. Okay, any other questions from anyone about the commissioner's budget? I'll take a motion to take the commissioner's budget under advisement at this time.
Don't move,
So moved.
Mr. Chairman. Move it.
All in
I'll
favor?
do the second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, is there any other budget questions? Since we're all assembled here talking about budgets.
Commissioner Shea?
Yes, Joe.
Go to Yuri. Can I just point out something?
Sure.
You guys just went over the miscellaneous budget, which falls under the commissioners, but you didn't go over the actual commissioner's office budget.
Good pickup, Joe.
I thought we did at the very beginning.
Yeah. Didn't I?
I'm sorry, Joe. We did.
Yeah, I talked about salaries. What exactly did I not go over, Joe?
I must have missed that then. I've been sitting here. I saw IT and then this, so I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
That's
missed it
okay.
then. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Continue.
All right, thank you.
Good
It's just
job.
not interesting.
That's why I'm asking these questions. Again, all this is on the table. This is probably week 3 or 4 that we've been discussing with everyone the budgets, and we're moving forward. We're gonna have this thing ready this summer, and there's a lot on our plate, but that's okay. We're looking at it. Last call. Any other questions? Okay, Chairman Connors, anything for us?
No, at this time, I think you have to turn it back over to Mr. Reardon to accept the minutes of the previous meeting. I don't think we did that yet. And to set up future schedule in anticipation of your returning the budget to us.
Okay.
Do you have any idea when you would be submitting the budget back to the?
I don't want to put Michelle on the spot here yet. I'll call you next week and tell you. Just because we're making record time this year, don't jinx us.
Call me up for when.
We're doing good. We've got good intentions here. But I hate to give you a date and then not be right. All right.
Mr. Reardon.
Mr. Chair, with your permission, The Finance Committee will complete the remaining items in their agenda. The first item being the acceptance of the minutes from the meeting of last Wednesday, March 3. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second it.
Calling the roll because there are a bunch of us and this is a public meeting and I can't see you all. Mr. Beckerman, I assume you'll abstain.
Yes.
Dr.
abstain.
Childs,
Yes.
Mr. Connors,
Yes.
Ms. Frigiletti.
Yes.
Okay, is there any other business to come before this committee that we had not anticipated? Hearing none, I'll entertain
The
a
only thing I
motion
would
to
say is I'm
adjourn.
so glad to
Oh,
see Eric
sorry.
part of the thing.
What?
No, I just want to say it's so glad to have Eric on our mighty band with Amy and Eric. It's a great band. So thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining
Elizabeth,
us.
where are you?
Happen.
I am hiding out in my camper, quarantining in my camper because I have to write 2 major reports this week. And I can't do it if I'm not hidden away.
Terrific.
Is there a motion to adjourn the Finance Committee meeting?
Take the motion.
And I will again call the roll. Mr. Beckerman,
Aye.
Dr. Childs,
Aye.
Mr. Connors, Ms. Frigiletti.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Thank you.
that concludes the budget review for today. Thank you very much. Number 20, Commissioners. Emergency items are topics that the chair did not reasonably anticipate would be discussed. I have 2 items that I want to repeat that I said earlier in the meeting. Number 1, I think this second batch of COVID money, however we want to categorize it, is sufficiently important enough that I would like to carry it on most every agenda until we get a way in which we're going to do it. Doesn't mean we have to report on it every week, but I want to keep it on there so we can bring it up and ask Commissioner Collins and Bill to bird dog that for us if you could. And the second item is on, I'm going to put a discussion on there next week for and an update on the engineering department, but I want to make sure it gets on the agenda and then we'll go from there. Do we have any other items, Commissioners, you'd like to discuss? We have an adjourned, a motion to
Mr.
adjourn.
Chairman, we had, as you recall, a meeting with Registrar O'Donnell, and I think we had asked him for a couple of issues to be addressed. Might be wondering if we could ask him to come in or just provide some of that follow-up that we asked for. I'm not sure if we got it. Maybe we did, and if we did, I apologize. But I thought there were a couple of things.
I don't believe we have it.
Right.
Commissioner.
I thought maybe if he had sufficient time, and if that does require executive session, perhaps he can communicate that to Michelle and make the appropriate posting if needed, right?
Sure.
Okay,
Okay?
we'll inquire. All right. Last call. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Okay, so moved.
Second.
All in favor of adjournment? Aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the Finance Committee.
See you later on.
Yeah.
We'll get that money, Peter.
Nice job, Michelle.
Thank you.
Nice job, Bill.
Thank you.
Good job, Bill.